Good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of The Message. I am your host, Donatus King. We'll spend this next hour with one purpose in mind, and that one purpose is to deliver the message that God is Almighty. Everything that ever was, is now, or ever will be, was made by God. Everything that ever happened, is happening right now, or ever will happen, was made to happen by God. God has a master plan for all times and all creation. God is Almighty. The message is brought to you by, is produced by the Society of Knowledge Incorporated. The Society is an interdenominational religious spiritual organization. Our members come from various different religious and spiritual backgrounds. We have various different religious and spiritual beliefs. Although we come from different backgrounds and have different beliefs, there's one belief that we share. There's one piece of knowledge that we hold in common. And that's the knowledge that there is a being, by no matter what name we may have been taught to call that being, by no matter what name we may have come to know that being. Whether that name be God, Allah, Yahweh, Jesus, Buddha, Jehovah, nature, by no matter what name, we know that there is indeed a power, a being that possesses not some of the power, not most of the power, but all of the power. We know that there is indeed an almighty being. That's the reason we do this show, and the only reason we do this show, to deliver the message that that being, that personally I call God, that being is indeed almighty. Today is February the 15th, 2018. I remind that fact because tonight, as we are on most Thursdays, we are live. And I remind you of that fact because this show is an open discussion. It's a two-way conversation. Those of you that are watching on television, you see the telephone number that's on your screen. I invite you to use that number and call in. For those of you that are watching on Facebook, that telephone number is 504-483-3336. That's 504-483-3336. Also, those of you that are watching on Facebook, you can join the discussion by posting a comment, and I'll do everything that I can to make sure that we acknowledge your comments and include that in our discussion. If there's something that's going on in your church, your mosque, your synagogue, your masjid, your temple, your place of worship, and you want to let the world know about it, call in or post a comment and let the world know about it. If there's something that's going on in your nonprofit organization and you want to let the world know about it, call in and let the world know about it. More important than what's going on in your place of worship, more important than what's going on in your nonprofit organization, if there's something that God has done for you in your life, a miracle that God has worked in your life, I invite you to join the discussion and share your testimony. Post a comment on Facebook or call in with your testimony. It may be someone that's going through something similar, some similar problems, and about to give up hope. And I'm going to sit down just for a minute and, yes, okay. It may be someone that's going through some similar problems, problems that you've gone through, and God made a way for you to get through it. Call in and share your testimony. Your testimony might be the one thing that someone needs to hear that will strengthen them, encourage them, helps them to hold on until things get better. The way our program is produced, the first segment of our show is what we call announcements. And then after the announcements, we have our testimonies. After our testimonies, we have our religious spiritual study, prove all things, hold fast that which is good, coming out of First Book of Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 21. Tonight, our religious spiritual discussion will be African religions. And that's very apropos, seeing as though we're in the month of February, which has been designated Black History Month. After our religious spiritual discussion, we have our words of inspiration. Tonight, they'll come out of the book of Genesis, chapter 46, verses 31 through 34. And if we get through that, we'll enter into Genesis chapter 47. Our announcements. Our main website, you see it there. That's www.godisalmighty.org. I invite you to lock that website into your web browser. Lock it in. And 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can visit that website, and there are links to all of our social media platforms. We have a religious discussion blog, a Facebook page, a Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. There are links to all of those things on our main website, and that main website is www.godisalmighty.org. Renaissance One is hiring certified nursing assistants. That number is 504-243-1901. And that number is open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Dillard University Senior Citizens Lunch. And I made this announcement last week, and I'll just follow up a little bit more on that. Dillard University is sponsoring a lunch for senior citizens at a greatly reduced, greatly discounted rate. And this is an opportunity. You know, we hear about so many of our seniors that are living on fixed budgets, and sometimes our seniors have to make a choice between food and medicine. So this is a nutritious meal being offered at Dillard University. The next meal will be Friday, February the 23rd, and then there will be meals offered in March, April, and May. For more information, you can call 504-816-4959, and if you didn't get that phone number, you can give me a call and or hit me up on Facebook, and I can give you more information. Entergy is offering free tax help. That number, that website rather, is www.entergy.com, and that's free tax help. You heard me earlier speak about Black History Month. This is indeed Black History Month, and I encourage all of our viewers, not only our black viewers, but all of our viewers, to study during this month, study some black history. And, you know, I've heard folks talk about black history really should be incorporated into American history. And to a certain degree, I agree with that statement. But the reality of it is that black history goes so much further than America. And when we study black history, we're not studying the history only of African Americans or Negroes or colored people. When we study black history, we're studying the history of folks that lived on the continent of Africa. And when we study that history, we realize and understand how intertwined black history is, not only with American history, but world history. So I encourage all of you to do some studying, because self-knowledge is a great and wonderful thing. And when I say self-knowledge, I'm not just limiting that term to people with African blood in them. When I talk about self-knowledge, whether a person is Anglo, whether a person is Hispanic, whether a person is Asian, when we study black history, we see how all through the centuries, thousands of years ago, the intermingling of the African peoples, the Asian peoples, the Anglo peoples, and when you study black history, you come to a truer knowledge of yourself, even if you are Anglo or Asian or Hispanic. No matter what your racial identity, you come to a greater self-awareness studying black history. So I encourage you to do that, and we will be studying African, as I said earlier, we will be studying African religions tonight. Nord C, the Milne Center, Black History Month activities, February 26th and 27th, from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., and that's located at 5420 Franklin Avenue here in the city of New Orleans. We are praying. Our hearts, prayers go out to the victims of the Florida shootings and their families. This is not a political. It's not a political show. Though this show, as I said earlier, is one purpose, and that one purpose is delivering the message that God is Almighty. But one of the things that gives me pause, and that's to look at the mass murder that occurred in Florida. And the last count, my understanding, 17 killed and still some injured, wounded, still in the hospital. And one of the things that either we're going to come up with a solution, or there are going to be more mass killings in our schools. I mean, that's just the reality. We're either going to come up with a solution and stop it, or we're not going to come up with a solution, and there'll be more mass killings. And one of the things about it is that these killings are becoming not only more frequent, but more deadly. That is, multiple people being killed. And, it's one thing when we talk about what happened in Las Vegas and the guy that was up in a hotel and shooting down at a crowd. Okay, that's one thing. Now another thing is when we have our children getting killed inside their school. This is you talk about the psyche and what it does to the psyche. Not only those children that went to the school, but children are impressionable. Just think of all of the children throughout the United States that have watched the endless news coverage, watched the endless interviews of students and teachers and parents at that school. Just think about our children, watching that. It's having an impact on their psyche. It's having an impact on their minds. You know, and one of the things that we're hearing is that some of these school shooters are motivated by the fact that they say, well, they have depression or they have some other type of mental illness. And I heard today, right before I came up here, I heard on the news, it said that this most recent shooter, that he had posted something online, that might have been Facebook, posted something online where he was talking about becoming a mass shooter in a school. You know, so as I'm saying, it's either going to get solved or it's going to get much worse. And I pray that it's in God's will that it gets solved, that we take steps to resolve this, not next year, not next month, but we take steps now, beginning now, not tomorrow, beginning now. Our congressmen, our senators, our governors, our presidents, and us, the people, that we take steps now, as I'm taking a step right now, and the step that I'm taking right now is putting this out there that we have to do something about this. So each of you that's watching this, you can take a step right now. Contact your neighbors, your friends, your family, and let them know the time is now. We have to do something about this. We have to put an end to this. Children's Hospital is hiring nurses. 504-899-9511. That phone line is open from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And these announcements about Children's Hospital hiring nurses and the other employers that I've already announced hiring, nursing assistants. We've been making that announcement for a couple of months. And the reason why I keep those announcements up there, as I've often said, is that those announcements can indeed make a difference in someone's life. So this show, this television show, can actually be a blessing in someone's life. Someone that's watching the show live, or someone that watches the show on Facebook. Someone might need a job, and watching this show give them that information that will help them to gain employment and help their family. So I was tempted to pull those announcements down because they've been up for, as I said, a couple of months. But the Spirit said, no, leave them up there because they are indeed a work that can make a difference in someone's life. Apostle Ronnie Bailey, Rock of Ages Ministries International, that website, www.ronniebailey.com. Apostle Bailey is doing some fantastic work here in the greater New Orleans area and also in the Lafayette area. That's their main website, www.ronniebailey.com. I invite you to visit their main website, and they have links to all of their social media outlets. They have some great videos, different work that they're doing. So I invite you to visit their website. Call 311 in the city of New Orleans area. Call 311 from 8:30 a.m. for 4:30 p.m. for free smoke detectors. Delta Home Care needs CNA nursing assistants. That number is 985-345-4343. As always, please check your car's back seat for children. Testimonies. This is a segment of the show where it's a new segment of the show. We invite folks to send in a video clip, a real short video clip, just testifying that God is Almighty. And if they have a specific miracle that God has worked in their lives, a video clip testifying and sharing that miracle. The past couple of weeks, last week we had a couple of young men from North Carolina that sent in videos, and we had those. We posted them on the show, played them on the show. So I invite you, if you have a testimony about, number one, a testimony that God is Almighty, just that simple, let me know. You do a video clip, and the video clip is modern technology is so great now that you can use your phone. You can use your cell phone and use it just like if you're doing a selfie, doing a video. Okay? Use your cell phone, and instead of taking a still picture, take a video. And the video can be, look, my name is John Brown. I'm sending in this testimony from Alabama, and I'm testifying that God is Almighty. It can be just that simple. And send that to me in a message, and I'll download it and put it on the air. And those of you that are watching by Facebook, send it to me. That Facebook address that you're watching right now, send it to me in a message. For those of you that aren't watching on Facebook but are watching by television, the Facebook address is Donatus, Danatus, middle initial N, last name King, King. Okay, so Donatus and King, do a short testimony, send it, and I'll make sure that I download it and put it on the air. Now, as I said, this week we don't have any testimonies, any video testimonies, but we have something that's as great. And when I say as great, and I'm speaking about, I have a testimony. For those of you that are regular viewers of the show, you know that you probably cannot recall ever seeing me do this show sitting down. And I really can't remember ever doing this show sitting down. Not sitting down in this setting. I've done the show sitting down. We've had guests in the studio, and we had chairs, and we sat down and had a discussion. But as far as me sitting at the podium like this, you probably have never seen that. I can't remember ever doing it. And the reason I'm doing it, and it's a miracle, I'm saying a miracle, it's a testimony that I'm actually able to do the show tonight at all. And I'm saying that because this past weekend, I don't know what it is that's going around, but I came down with something this past weekend, and I really didn't feel its impact until Monday. Now for those of you that know me personally, I'm a member of the Zulu organization, and this is this is our time of the year. The months leading up to Mardi Gras, and when you get into the 2 or 3 weeks leading up to Mardi Gras, there's some kind of activity going on every day, every night with Zulu. And I've slowed down a little bit. I don't try to go to all of the parties, all the crew parties, all the rest of that. I do make several of them, but not like I used to. But I enjoy having a good time and a great time. Those of you that watch this show, you know that I drink. Yes, I drink. My favorite alcoholic beverage is Jack Daniels. And on Carnival Day, I usually will drink at least 1 or 2 drinks of Jack Daniels as I celebrate Mardi Gras Day. But I go to say all of that because Monday, okay, well, Sunday, I went to the Zulu King flag raising. And that's an event where, there's a DJ playing, and this was held at a little country club out in New Orleans East. It used to be a country club. And that's where everybody was assembled, and they had all kinds of food, and, all kinds of drinks and everything else. And the king arrived, and there's a big show and a procession going on. And we marched from that country club to the king's house and raised the king's flag. And what that is the king has his flag, King Zulu 2018, and that's placed at the king's house. And that's the entire community know that this is where King Zulu 2018 lives. And the second line band, everybody, second lining from the country club to the king's house, and then from the king's house back to the country club. I felt good. Okay, I felt good. So that's Sunday. Okay, Monday, went to work. Okay, felt maybe a little something, a little cough or something. Then when I left work, I said, well, this is Monday, this is the day before Carnival. I'm going to have me a few drinks this evening. Well, the thing about it, I went home, I had 1 drink, and that was it. Terrible night. Terrible night. Couldn't sleep. A dog kept barking. Couldn't get any rest. Kept getting in and out the bed. Got the chills. Sweating. Tuesday morning, I have a tradition on Carnival Day. A tradition that I've been following I don't know how many years. But I get up and I go to the Zulu Club, Broad in Orleans, and I walk from the club to Claiborne in Orleans. That's my tradition. And I have a drink along the way. Folks I haven't seen all year, I'll see them on that route. Every year, the same folks. And we'll shoo-shoo, clown around, just have a great, fun time. Get to Claiborne, I turn back around, back to Broad Street in Orleans, and I'll sit there and catch the parade right by the Zulu Club. This Tuesday, Mardi Gras Day, it took everything in me to get out my bed and go do my stroll. And I did it, and I made it back. I made it all the way to Claiborne, turned around, made it back to Broad. And again, it took everything in my body to wait at that spot until the first Zulu float passed, and that's the King Zulu. And as soon as that float passed, and I say it passed, it wasn't 10 feet past me. I was turning, walking back to my car, and going home. Now understand. Now part of Carnival, part of Mardi Gras Day for me is to not only take that stroll, but to have a drink or two while I'm taking that stroll, and clowning around and fellowshipping with folks that I haven't seen all year. But again, as I said, not a drink of Jack Daniels, not a beer, none of that. Left there, my sister-in-law, it was her birthday, so I went by my mother-in-law's house. That's where the family was meeting. And I got there and went to get something to eat. I hadn't eaten any breakfast. Went to get something to eat. My wife fixed me a plate of beans and rice and a couple pieces of fried fish. I ate 2 forkfuls of beans and rice. I took a bite of the fish, and I couldn't eat anything. I hadn't eaten any breakfast, hadn't eaten anything else that day. I couldn't eat. When I tell you, on Mardi Gras Day, by 4:30 in the afternoon, I had taken my bath and was in my bed under my covers. Now, I'll share that with you. That's just how bad I was feeling. And, breaking out in the sweat and then having chills, feeling that, your skin hurts. That's how bad I was feeling. So when I say for me to be here doing the show tonight, even though I'm sitting down, but that's a testimony that no matter what condition you're in, that God can make a way. So this is indeed a personal live testimony of what God did for me. And it might be someone that's watching this show right now. And I see D, thank you for joining on Facebook. Brother Derek, thank you for joining on Facebook. This testimony, someone might be watching the show now and hearing this testimony, and there may be someone that's watching right now that's feeling the same way I felt. It might be someone that's watching right now that's just feeling miserable. And I'm here to let you know that if we say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, here today, Thursday, I'm not 100%, but I'm feeling so much better than I was in 4 days. So if you're going through something like that, if you're experiencing some of those symptoms, the same way that God brought me from being flat in my bed and 4 days later able to come to the studio and do this show, there's nothing special about me, that God did it for me, and God can indeed do it for you. So that's a personal testimony, a live testimony. Brother Tenav, thank you for joining. Peace and blessings to you, my brother. Brother Tenav, coming out of North Carolina. Religious spiritual study, prove all things, hold fast that which is good, coming out of the first book of Thessalonians, chapter 5, verse 21. And I want to emphasize that. Prove all things, hold fast that which is good. I'm emphasizing that even more tonight because as I've researched our topic for tonight, Brother Robert, thank you for joining on Facebook. As I researched our topic for tonight, and that topic is African religions, it just became blatant. And what it is that it's really difficult to find discussions, even on the internet, difficult to find discussions about African religions. When you try researching that, invariably what's going to pop up is Egyptian religions. And yes, Egypt is on the African continent. So Egypt is a part of the African religious history, but Egypt is such a small, small portion of the continent of Africa, such a small portion, and it's hard to imagine that in that vast, vast, great majority part of Africa, that there was not something going on in a religious context. So it took a while to do some studying, and one other thing that as I did get past that hurdle, you find out that there's conflicting stories about the African religions and ancient African religions. And a lot of the stories are slanted to make light of and diminish the importance of those ancient African religions. So with that being said, I invite everybody, as Thessalonians says, to prove all things. So what you see here tonight, prove it. Don't take my word for it. And if there's something that's inaccurate, that's said, post it on Facebook. Let me know. Call in the show and do it tonight so that we can have that discussion. Because we want to make sure that we get out the best information to the community. And most of the information that I have, the vast majority is coming from Wikipedia. And there are all different kinds of issues with Wikipedia, but that's where most of this information is coming from. Okay, African religions. Now, when we talk about Africa, a lot of us have in mind, and we think that Africa is one country, but no, Africa is not one country. Okay? Africa is actually at least 54 different countries. And as you see the cursor, if you can see it on your screen, the upper right-hand corner says Egypt. All right, so when we talk about African religions, usually they're speaking about Egyptian religions, and you can see that's a small portion. Egypt is a small portion of the entire continent of Africa. So if there was a whole lot going on in Egypt, was there anything going on in these other portions of the African continent? Were the things that were occurring in Egypt, were they influenced by things that occurred in other parts of Africa? Well, we know when we study Egyptian religion, we know that the actual Egyptian religions started up in the area that I'm moving the cursor around, okay, and was called the Upper Nile. And the Nile is one of those rare rivers that flows north. But this is the first dynasties in Egypt started, and as we see a lot of the developments. And right underneath that, here we go, the Sudan. So it's kind of hard to imagine that something developed here around Lake Victoria at the head of the Nile, and it was not influenced by things that occurred in the Sudan. Okay, so we wanted to put this out there just to give us all a context about Africa, that it's a continent and it's composed of more than 50 actual countries. And I'll be reading off of a lot of let's say that comes off of Wikipedia. Brother Jeffrey, thank you for joining us on Facebook. But let me just read this off. Africa is a large continent with multitudes of nations who have complex cultures, innumerable languages, and myriad dialects. Currently, there are between 47 and 55 countries on the continent of Africa. The most accurate account of countries for the continent of Africa is 54. Some of the African traditional religions are those of the Serer, and I might not pronounce that right. That's S-E-R-E of Senegal. And you see on the screen now, Senegal, that's in the northwest portion of Africa. Okay, and that's what we have there. The Yoruba and Igbo of Nigeria, and the Akan of Ghana, and the Ivory Coast. The religion of the Gibi peoples, mostly the Ewe and Fan of Benin, Togo, and Ghana, is called Vodun, and is the main source for similarly named religions in the diaspora, such as Louisiana Voodoo, Haitian Vodou, Cuban Vodou, Dominican Voodoo, and Brazilian Voodoo. And next we have on the screen, that is a photo of a Senegalese female. All right. The Serer traditional religion is called Roog, the way of the divine. It believes in a universal supreme deity called Roog. The Kangan language speakers refer to the supreme being as Kooks. Serer religious beliefs encompasses ancient chants and poems, veneration and offerings to Serer gods, goddesses, the Pangu, ancestral spirits and saints, astronomy, rites of passage, medicine, cosmology, and the history of the Serer people. You see on the screen now, that is the map showing Nigeria. And the traditional religions of Nigeria are Yoruba and Igbo. And just an aside, one of the founding members of the Society of Knowledge is a Yoruba priest now, Brother Ray, and he is in Atlanta. He's actually been in Atlanta for a number of years. But the Yoruba faith, variously known as Abarisha, Orisha Ifa, or simply and erroneously Ifa, is commonly seen as one of the principal components of the African traditional religions. Orisnala, also known as Batala, was the arch divinity chosen by Olodumare, the supreme god, to create solid land out of the primordial water that then constituted the earth, and populating the land with human beings molded out of clay. That sounds kind of similar. A God that created the solid land out of the water. Book of Genesis says something about something like that happening. But these traditional African religions go back before the book of Genesis was written. I don't know, it's just strange coincidence. And populating the land with human beings molded out of clay. The book of Genesis says something about that too. So I don't know. You know, as I said, black history, not only important for black folks, but important to everybody. Traditional Yoruba religion. The Yoruba religion comprises the traditional religious and spiritual concepts and practices of the Yoruba people. Yoruba religion is formed of diverse traditions and has no single founder. Yoruba religious beliefs are part of Itan, the total complex of songs, histories, stories, and other cultural concepts which make up the Yoruba society. In the Yoruba creation story, Olodumare, the supreme god, sent Obatala to earth to create mankind. Now, this, to me, it looks like a fish with his tail in his mouth. And as you see this image, Olodumare, God in Yoruba belief, that's worth doing some research. One of the things he took with him was a rooster, which spread soil over the earth by using its clawed feet. And here, this is the photo of the cockerel on Osun chalice. One of the most common Yoruba traditional religious concepts have been the concept of Orisha. Orisha are variously godly forms that reflect one of the various manifestations, avatars of God in the Yoruba spiritual or religious system. Some widely known Orisha are Ogun, god of metal and victory, and here we see a depiction of Ogun. Another Orisha is Shango or Jakuda, the god of thunder, lightning, fire, and justice, who manifests as a king, always wielding a double-edged axe, which conveys his ashe, or divine authority and power. We see this depiction. There's the double-edged axe. Another Orisha is Orunmila. Orunmila, the god of infinite knowledge, divination, wisdom, and fortune-telling, reveals the past, solutions to problems in the present, and the future, consulted through the Ifa divination system by oracles called Babalawas. And here we can see some divination going on here, a photo of that, and that's in tribute to the Orisha named Shango or Jakuda. You see now a map of Ghana, and you can see Ghana is about the mid-western part of Africa, and the reason we put that up is Akin or Akan religion comprises the traditional beliefs and religious practices of the Akan people of Ghana and the eastern Ivory Coast. Akan religion is referred to as Akum from the Twi word Okum, meaning prophecy. Followers of Akan religion believe in a supreme God who created the universe. He is distant and does not interact with humans. What you see on your screen now is an Dinkra symbol, and what this is that the creator God takes on different names depending upon the region of worship, including Nyame, Nyankapan, and others. The supreme creator is an omniscient, omnipotent sky father. His wife is Asase Yah, also known as Mother Earth, considered second to God. Together they brought forth two children, Baya, and Tano. Here we see this is again, it's about the central west coast of Africa, and that, as you see, Benin, the religion of the Gibi peoples, mostly the Yu and Fan of Benin, Togo, and Ghana, is called Vudan, and is the main source for similarly named religions in the diaspora, such as Louisiana Voodoo, Haitian Vodou, Cuban Vodou, Dominican Voodoo, and Brazilian Vodum. Vodan, meaning spirit in the Fan and Yu languages, is practiced by the Yu people of eastern and southern Ghana, in southern and central Togo, and the Kabai people, Gen-speaking people, and Fan people of southern and central Togo, and southern and central Benin. It is also practiced by some Gun people of Lagos and Ogun in southwest Nigeria. All of the aforementioned peoples belong to Gibi-speaking ethnic groups of West Africa, except the Kabai. Brother Ronald, thank you for checking in on Facebook. Sister Carolyn, thank you for joining us on Facebook. Mawu. Mawu. You see there a depiction of the god Mawu. A divine creator called variously Mawu or Mahu is a female being who in one tradition bore 7 children and gave each rule over a realm of nature, animals, earth, and sea, or else these children are inter-ethnic and related to natural phenomena or to historical or mythical individuals. The Creator embodies a dual cosmogenic principle of which Mawu, the moon, and Lisa, the sun, are respectively the female and male aspects, often portrayed as the twin children of the Creator. And as you see here, on the left, that's the sun, and on the right is the moon, and as it says here, Mawu the moon, right here, and Lisa the sun, often portrayed as the twin children of the Creator. All creation is considered divine and therefore contains the power of the divine. Now, I paused for a second there. All creation, not some creation, but not some creation, but all creation is considered divine. So that statement saying that anything that exists is divine. That sounds pretty similar to what we'd be saying on this show, that everything that is actually a part of God, a part of the divine. Same thing that physicists teaches, that all matter always existed, has never been created, always existed. So from the very beginning, from the Big Bang Theory, everything that exists today has always existed, always part of the one, still is part of the one. This is how medicines such as herbal remedies are understood, and explains the ubiquitous use of mundane objects in religious ritual. Vodun talismans, called fetishes, are objects such as statues of dried animal or human parts that are sold for their healing and spiritually rejuvenating properties. This has been my attempt in less than an hour's time to have a discussion, share some information about African religions. And as I stated, I invite you to do your research, and you can give me a call, post a comment on Facebook, supplement what's going on tonight, and next week and in upcoming weeks we can supplement this program and share some more information. If you have other insights, that'd be great, and it's welcomed. But hopefully this help open up some eyes as far as the interconnectedness of all of us, no matter what our skin color, no matter what texture of our hair, no matter any of that, the interconnectedness of all of us. So that we only have a couple of minutes left in the show, so we're not going to get a chance to go into our words of inspiration. So I'll just close out, and as I close out tonight, going back to where we started, and that's delivering the message that there's an almighty being, by no matter what name we may call that being. And as you see, when we study the African religions, they have various different names that they know of the Creator. But as I close, no matter what name you may have been taught to call that being, no matter what name you may have come to know that being, there is indeed a being that is almighty. And my prayer as I close out, my prayer is that that being, no matter what you have to go through in this upcoming week, my prayer is that that being blesses you and yours with peace.